Okay, we're going live.
Do your intro.
All right. Er, Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode. A little unconventional today because it's completely different from anything we used to do.
It's on
Um,
a Wednesday. That's
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
trick.
yeah, it's a Wednesday, not ridiculously
Do your
late.
intro.
All right. So, is this even? Go to the game.
Not really, but it is a emergency broadcast coming to you live.
That's true. Things do look a little different here, as you might notice.
Yeah,
Because
we rebranded.
yeah, we rebranded. We found out that Tyler McVicker isn't going to need his logo anymore.
So we just decided to take liberties and borrow it.
Yep. So today we happen to have with us three very special individuals. They would like to introduce themselves.
I'll
Uh,
go,
oh, you
I'll
happen
go
to have.
first.
Okay.
I'm Dean. I cut out Andy whenever he tries to speak because I don't know proper stream etiquette, and I've also suck at streaming. So hi.
Boy, if that ain't the truth. And we also happen to have myself. I'm me. I'm Andy. I'm mad. I'm
the
really
only
mad.
the only other man from Ohio.
Right, there's only two people in Ohio. One of them is Tyler McVicker, the other one is me. Then you also happen to have,
Right, so then
yeah,
there's
Yeah, introduce yourself.
this sort of like special host, no guest. How
yeah,
about
guest
we use
host.
the correct words here? Guest for today, I'm Lucas. I am a bit of a strange puzzle piece, I'd say, among the usual gamer zone set. I basically reverse software for fun, no profit, put on Twitter, and it makes people angry. And I'm here now to make the gamers angry.
Sweet.
Finally, because we all know that gamers are never angry.
We are never angry.
Never angry. Ever.
Oh goodness.
Check
We
us out
got a
next week on the
fucking
Anger Zone.
yeah. Thanks for watching. That's our stream today. That's all we had to tell you. Tyler McVicker is grounded. Yeah, his mom grounded him. Take away his money. He's not getting allowance. But today's topic is a fucking doozy. Holy shit.
Yeah, so I kind of want to announce the topic, I guess. I mean, we kind of announced it in the tweet and the description and everything else, but I just
Might
want
as
to
well do
show
it again.
off. Yeah, we can just fully go over it. But I do want to note that today's show topic is, in fact, this is speculation based off
Mm-hmm.
of many of my sources here. I think I can believe that, and keep in mind, this is, in fact, speculation. I think
Speculation.
Tyler McVicker is going to jail.
Going to jail. Woo!
Okay, probably not actually jail, but you know what? Listen, if he can lie and just throw a speculation thing on there, then I can too.
uh,
Oh, boy.
you got some shit to unpack, dude.
Listen, if you go back to our last podcast episode and go to Mark, can't remember how far it is actually. It's
It
like
was
towards
two.
the.
It was 2 weeks ago, and the video was like halfway through.
Yeah, I have like a
Actually, no, it was like three quarters
yeah,
through.
three-quarters of the way through. And I apparently just went off on Tyler McVicker for a solid 6 minutes. Then
Yeah, he
after the
just he
show,
just
just like
raged.
passed out and completely forgot about it.
It was
So
something
it's
else.
yeah, so it's an interesting situation.
Ooh. We should probably explain further what's going on.
Probably, yeah, that's the idea.
Hey, Simone's in the chat.
Oh, hey Simone.
Hello.
Okay, we're gonna have a little buffering on the stream, I think, because okay, connection's back up to normal.
All right.
Anyways, yeah, the big news thing today that happened to happen is that a massive leak of various Valve source code and different projects happened to leak out, including the source code for Team Fortress 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive,
Yep.
as well as some stuff from their other projects like F-Stop, and I've seen screenshots floating around of apparently there's also projects in here that are from Arcane Software's Half-Life 2 Episode 4, which
Yeah,
was,
episode 4.
as you can guess, that was canceled quite quickly.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. There's
Yes.
I guess
another episode 4 as well.
one of the important details is the sort of time frame for where this stuff originated. It's not recent. It's from around summer 2017 or. And a maybe slightly disappointing thing is that as someone who likes to go through sites like the Cutting Room Floor and other sites that look into leftover game data and find some cool things that used to be there but aren't really anymore, FSTAB actually seems to be a recreation instead of the original thing, so it's maybe not as exciting as it may sound.
That is a bit disappointing. I actually didn't know that part going into it. And this is why we have Lucas here.
Yeah, he actually he's in fucking ground zero right now.
Yeah, he's on the gamer zone from the Eurozone,
That's
so
That's what the GZ stands for, above the gamer zone.
Yeah, ground zero.
introducing the Gamer Zone 9/11 memorial episode.
Yeah,
Oh no.
never forget.
Never forget. So I've happened to have my hands on this, and I'm kind of looking through it here. I'm not sure if we want to start with talking about Tyler's involvement or supposed
We should probably
involvement.
go into what's the actual effect right now before we start talking about Tyler.
That's a good idea.
Like maybe a quick heads up if you're planning on playing any Valve or Source games. Don't.
Yep, that's the easiest way of putting it.
So TF2 fucked, Counter-Strike fucked. Those games are effectively in isolation. They are guaranteed to be fucked within probably by the end of today. Like people are digging through the codes. I think the codes have been out for 12 hours.
I'm
Well,
not sure. I just saw it when I woke up this
Around
morning.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer. So people have had time to dig through it a little bit, and oh my goodness, it's hell. So yeah, Team Fortress 2 compromised, Counter Strike compromised. Games like Left 4
Thing
Dead
is-
2 might be compromised.
I have a question for you two, as I actually haven't looked into the files myself. It's just stuff I heard from people who did. Do you happen to know if this is just purely the games, or also the server stuff? Because I feel like that might be if there's no server stuff, it's at least the wound is not as big. Client is still a huge leak because
I don't-
obviously you see how it uses the data, but
I
That
don't know. The
I'm not
specifics,
certain of yet.
but
Let's see.
I'm gonna play it safe and assume it includes the server stuff. So I'm gonna stay away from games like Left 4 Dead 2 and
Well,
Gmod.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing as to why to stay away from one of those is that it was maybe 2010-ish, and Valve started this big effort to have every single Source game on the same pipeline, which did a couple of things. I remember it ended up breaking Half-Life Source because nobody cared about Half-Life Source.
It was a terrible remake. It was just a port.
Yeah. But the idea was that they would have every single Source game running, on the same version of the engine. They could push out all sorts of shared updates at the same time, which has proven to be very good for fixing security vulnerabilities. As if there's an issue with one thing, they send them out to all of them, which doesn't apply to every third-party Source game. Stuff like Gary's mod is updated independently, of course.
It's getting its own update this month, which we don't know if it's coming out now.
I'd expect them to probably put in security patches prior to that, but
Maybe.
what I think is most interesting to this is, I don't know, just seeing all the source code to this stuff is, I feel like we're going to see engine-level vulnerabilities show up quite a bit.
Valve hasn't actually said anything about this yet, so we're really early.
Right.
technically, there's not official Valve communication, but I don't know where these actually come from. I just being sent screenshots. like maybe it's like Tyler himself. There is some stuff from a Valve related like person that is concerned with like law and issues around it.
Yeah.
So I've seen like mail communication, which is like takedown requests, which are worded like
Yeah.
surprisingly nicely. I may be able to pull one up and maybe try and cite, as that's probably a bit interesting to some viewers. Let me see. Mm, First of all, like the person that is actually being shown in most of these screenshots, like, can I pull up the name? Will my magnificent internet let me? Is the first question.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. I know a lot of people are arguing that Tyler is gonna like
oh,
get off easy because he's like he has good connections with Valve. No, he's
okay,
not.
I found it.
Okay.
So his name is Liam or Liam Lavery. I don't know which is the right pronunciation. Let's give you both. And his description is attorney at the Valve Corporation. So make of that what you will. And the mails have actually been like rather friendly, like compared to other sort of legal action you can see people take. This is super tame.
Hmm.
Mails such like hi, we noticed that you have posted a bunch of stolen Valve code on like link here and then promoted it to the group on Steam community. Can you please take it down?
I can
Generally, we
imagine in
appreciate your
parentheses.
support for fans of Valve games, but we need you to take down the game code. This has been stolen from or by Valve licensees over the years, and we cannot stand by while we distribute it. And yeah, like this is the also important part. It's not like someone in Valve was like, yeah, let's go rogue, fuck it.
No.
It's like that internal. It was a licensee that
Hmm.
provided this code to a group that
Okay.
eventually leaked it.
Yeah, that legal thing really screams the subtext of like, dude, what the fuck? What? What? Why would you do that? Oh my goodness.
Oh
All right.
my goodness. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens with this. I feel like maybe the person who actually went ahead and leaked it in the end is going to get hit legally. I feel like what we're going to see a bunch of other stuff is because this appears to come from Leverworks software, if my let's see the title's correct. Sorry, Lever Softworks. Yeah, Lever Softworks.
Softworks. Okay.
Yes, Lever Softworks, which was a group that, if memory serves, Tyler was significantly involved in. I know he was promoting stuff he was doing with them on his YouTube channel for a while, like recreations of Half-Life and Portal Beta stuff, which the f-stop build in here does actually appear to be from their attempt to recreate f-stop as opposed to the actual, Valve f-stop that, as we all know,
Yeah.
eventually went on. Um, but there's a lot and a lot of Valve News Network related stuff in here because a lot of this
Hmm.
is like the original files of a lot of the source that he was putting up on his YouTube videos and streams for a while there. Like I'm looking into it right now, and it's got the post-human concept art from Half-Life 3. Supposedly, I'm willing to believe it's actually from Half-Life 3 that he talked about a while ago. Um,
Okay.
there's a lot of text files in here from whoever leaked this out talking about stuff,
There's so much information.
right? And then
Like
there's
we have,
also massive, and I mean massive, chat logs
yeah, on the
between.
Steam chat service.
Yes, yes, like the worst place to communicate about Valve leaks if you're,
Mhm.
a normal
On Valve's
person.
own platform.
It
I
makes
mean,
me
yeah,
think of
that's one thing. Like, it's a bad place. Like, it's like it's analogous to like a story that some people might know, like storing private Microsoft stuff on your OneDrive.
right. I was about to
But
bring that up
I would
actually.
argue that there is like some merit to. I mean, there is a local saying here, but I don't know if it's really a thing in other places. But it goes like it's something along the lines of like under the lamp is the biggest shade or something like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think this specifically applies to stuff like this because you have such a high volume of people using Steam chat on practically like any basis that
Hmm.
it would be rather hard to like pinpoint like, yeah, this is the one guy that we really need to watch out
Yeah.
for, like we need to see what
Right.
he's doing.
It's a more general term is like it's right in front of your nose. Like
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be the right thing, but for some reason I thought of the local thing first.
don't worry
I
about
like
it.
the local thing. But yeah,
It's
it's something else, honestly.
hmm it sucks.
So this this chat login here is between Tyler McVicker himself and
The
someone
lab.
presumably a Valve employee, going by the name of Cephalon.
Yeah, I don't know
And
anything about him.
there's a lot in here. I have not had a good chance to go through
It
How
it.
should be
how
the
big is?
licensee, right? Like not an employee, straight up.
I had heard earlier that he was an employee and not a licensee,
Oh,
but at this point, I mean, like,
I mean, he has access to talk to employees. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
I mean,
so I don't.
I think this is another like instance where like Tyler is someone who is the single most active person in the Valve community. Um, and do note, I'm not talking about quality, but quantity.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah, we
by
can
all
get into
means, the guy,
that if we
it
wanted.
makes complete sense that the guy has all this access to get talking with Valve employees. But
Hmm.
despite the fact that he has so much access to Valve employees, either officially or unofficially, and all sorts of access to stuff around the community, he's very careless. And
Oh yeah.
okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for a lot of it. A
uh,
lot of it was when he
can
was
I
getting
highlight
started
some
out.
stuff like from the chat logs
Sure.
Go.
because
Yeah, sure
Yeah, go
thing.
for it.
there is some fun stuff, and I'll like before I go into this, I'll say like I really appreciate having many friends that care about gaming slightly more than I do, which hopefully doesn't make me an entirely fake gamer on the Gamers Zone podcast.
Only a partially fake gamer.
uh, I can live with that. And those people have like looked into the chat logs, like probably not all of them because there's a lot, but there's definitely some interesting things to be found. Like in the chat log with the Cephalon guy he mentioned, uh, the Cephalon guy like not only like provided internal info from like or about Valve stuff, but at the same time he told Tyler how to get development hardware, basically. Stuff that was like not super secret or anything. It was some hardware that was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks away from public release. So not like super spicy things, but it's still something that would be considered, I don't know, interesting by many.
Right.
And there are things like one of the conversation goes like, yeah, like if you mail this guy and like the Cephalon guy hands out an address which ends in oculus.com, and just like if you mail this guy and just tell him that you need a Rift and Touch, and explain what you want to do with it, you'll be able to get it. And like Tyler goes like, what? For real? Even though it's not out yet? And it's like, yeah, like you'll get an order form, just you specify the quantity, and just go along with it. And you'll need to sign an NDA. Why?
Oh my
Because
goodness.
Touch is not out yet. Oh, okay.
That's a very telling
Uh,
thing from Tyler. You have to sign an NDA. Why?
yeah, why?
Why? Non-disclosure agreement. What the fuck does that mean?
I mean, like once you like take the plunge into the like world of like especially IT sphere jobs, I would say that like NDAs are handed out like more than candy.
Oh yeah.
For example, when I was like looking for a place to work at last summer, I was invited to like like a small company that does like mobile apps for banking and stuff. So understandably, some of it should be confidential. But I only spent like a few hours at their place. We talked about what I would like to do, what they do, see if there's some overlap, and if we can continue. And simply based on just like this basic info, I had to sign an NDA shortly before I walked out to like not mention any of the details. I still have a copy like right next to me.
Ooh. We should probably get into how this leak even happened.
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting thing.
That is a
So there
really
are a
interesting
couple
thing.
of differing stories here.
A lot.
Yeah. The one included within the leak itself is it's a compressed file that within it contains a couple of folders, and then it happens to contain full.zip or full.7-zip actually, copy that I've got here.
God damn
But
it,
then
Andy.
there's a thing that says what is in full.zip .text. And it says full.zip is the entire Counter-Strike Global Offensive source code as of Operation Hydra and the Team Fortress 2 source code as of Jungle Inferno.
I think
These
it's like 1 month after Jungle Inferno.
well,
I think that's the
tell that to
specific.
the leaker. These were willingly held onto by a secret few of people, Valve News Network, etc., and kept in a very small circle. It was some kind of medium for them to jerk off about having secret shit. As somebody who's been involved with the Windows beta community over the years, that's something I'm very familiar with.
It happens a lot.
I'm not naming
I
you,
mean,
but you know who
also
you
like at the
are.
same time, I would say that like if like this sort of stuff leaks and like the leaker gets to leave a note, uh, like I am sure that the people that were like in possession of the source and stuff definitely didn't see it as some sort of like modest thing to have around. But at the same time, you have like places in these communities that deal with stuff that isn't public,
Mhm.
which are like super envious and somehow find a way to like not necessarily like be hostile towards, but be very mean to people they know have the private things and just do some like I don't know the word harassment. I feel like
Yeah.
it keeps changing meaning over time. Like, and
Just like,
I guess I'll stick to
grocery.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they try to blame you that like if they were in your place, they would have taken care of this better because they don't even know what you're doing with it, and surely
Mm,
you're irresponsible.
mm.
So there's like a small chance that the stuff in the text file here is blowing things out of proportion a bit, but at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, there's got to be some truth to it because, well, it leaked,
Yeah,
and we all looked
obviously
at
Right,
we
it.
have it.
right.
All
I
this is
mean,
happening.
I'm sitting absolutely in the center of the whole ordeal. I mean, like, if I had the ability to slap all this stuff into a text file with this incredibly valuable code that you don't want on the internet and just dump it out, I mean, if I was that type of person, I would probably drop in a list of people I hate as well. Mostly Beta Archive staff members.
Just put in just a little specific names, just randomly.
Yeah, yeah. Just be like, hey, so if you go to betaarchive.com and you can email the administrator and tell him that he's a bit of an idiot,
Yeah.
um, just little notes like that. That's.
Probably shouldn't get into personal stuff. This is
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying,
just a
if he's
salty
out
bitch.
there, if you can hear me out there, Wyman.
Oh my goodness.
Also, like, did you mean to like, or did you want to speak about like the rest of the text file, or is like a bit too grim to talk
Uh,
about?
I'll,
Because it
I
is
We should
will,
certainly
probably
like a
cover it.
I'll go over
slightly
like
fucked up.
I will like skim
It's
it. There's a
important.
lot of stuff on here that I don't necessarily want to say aloud. Um,
Yeah, just do your
Yeah,
best.
so I guess if you don't mind, like I could like give my take on it and also link
yeah,
it to
I'll
another
do like
thing
a
I knew
summary of
happened.
it. I think.
Yeah, let Andy do it.
Where in the eyes of the person who wrote this text file, saying that, claiming that, quote unquote, not my words, his, some weird schizoid managed to grab both of these code bases during his work on some 900th attempt at a Half-Life 2 virtual reality project, and his major goal was to have this circle leak it to the public. After that, stuff gets extremely grim. about this guy trying to kill his girlfriend and
It was like,
himself,
yeah,
and
planning a
it's
murder suicide or
yeah, murder
something.
suicide planning and stuff like that. Um,
The cops showed up though, I believe.
yeah, according to the text file, she fled. The cops had been called, and he ended up getting arrested. But man,
Yeah,
that kind of elevates this if it's all true. I
I think there
almost
was like,
So
was
like
there a name attached
these
too?
no.
sort of leaks
I've heard it.
are
I've heard it. I've
actually
seen names being thrown across.
like leaks like this that like encompass like very important source codes to things that you don't want to have public ever, but especially not this soon.
Hmm.
Most of them seem to be like or like the source is an employee or ex-employee that is not necessarily like looking for attention, but they sort of want the like last hurrah before another big thing or like the
Mm,
final thing happens. Because another one that comes to mind is when some Xbox stuff leaked. It's maybe been like 5 years since or so. I suck at keeping track, and was basically a Microsoft guy that was fired. Happened to have kept a lot of copies of like various internal things. And once he was fired, he decided to make a torrent of all the cool things because that's how you get revenge, I
yeah,
suppose.
Hmm.
and also jail time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Was this the
uh,
Durango operating system leak?
I don't think it was that. It was rather like I think it was like a mix of debugging stuff and internal things that would let people know
Hmm.
some like useful internal have some useful internal knowledge about both the 360 and the one.
Okay.
And uh, for those, or I suppose for most people who don't really know my background, I focus on like a lot of Microsoft tech, so that's where that's why I sort of remember these things.
Yeah, he's a
And
coder
I
cat.
can probably like follow this up on like with another Microsoft story, a short one. I won't really drag it out, but and this is still something that I would say possibly on the verge of having the same fate as this source leak we are talking about right now, just not as bad because it's way older.
Okay.
Basically, the simplest way to put it, the full source code to Windows XP is making its round online, and it's been doing so for like 5 years.
Hmm.
Like you can build your full Windows XP,
Oh yeah,
You,
baby.
and yeah, it's like it's got a lot of obviously amusing things. And as far as I know, uh, this was taken from Microsoft like long after things with XP were relevant as a sort of actually I think it was like done on request by someone who was friends with an employee. He was like the XP source, and surprisingly, the answer was okay, I will.
Hmm.
So it was taken
okay.
out, and the original plot of this was to like take the source, intersperse some like illegal stuff into it, like some sort of like let's say imagery and videos that can get you some serious jail time like into it
Mm,
because like this stuff is like thousands of folders. You can't
hmm.
just comb through it and hand it to a prolific beta site, have them leak it and get it shut down and just completely just trash talked. But
Destroyed.
it didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
Stuff is weird. Like when you have communities that hold on to like large volumes of private stuff with just like
it's like their own little
the
signature.
the only warranty being trust,
Yeah.
it's really difficult to keep it going.
Right.
Speaking of stuff like that, we should probably get into the effects of what's probably going to happen to going to happen to our good boy Tyler McVicker. What's going to happen to him after all this.
If I am to be honest, I mean, yes, I do have my jokes about, again, I will show the speculation screen. Tyler McVicker is going to jail. Like, I can joke about that endlessly because Tyler McVicker is kind of an idiot and probably will eventually do something that warrants him going to jail. but I don't think this is it.
You know?
No, I actually don't. Because it doesn't look great for him. Because
No, it's
he
fucking
was okay.
terrible.
Oh yeah, no, because I mean, he was the person that this information got passed through. This stuff, as I understand it, got to Leversoftworks through Tyler McVicker,
Hmm.
and in turn got to the guy who leaked it through Tyler McVicker. Technically, everybody in that chain, from the guy that put the thing out on the internet, back to the Leversoftworks guys and gals, to Tyler, to the person who gave it to Tyler, everybody in that chain is quote unquote guilty. The question is
Yeah.
if Valve is going to do anything about it, and I would say that if this hits, specifically, I would say if this hits Counter-Strike hard enough, then
Yeah.
by all means, like if you impact Valve's moneymaker that much, or if let's say some of the things found in here would affect Dota or
Hmm.
anything like that, if it hits their big moneymakers, then
I feel like
Valve's lawyers are different people from the rest of the company, as far as I
they,
understand it. Which is the standard case. The legal department is always going to be much harsher than everybody else, and
they have to be. That's
it
their
would
job.
not shock me to see somebody from the legal department start to get fired up. And probably, I feel like the guy that ended up leaking it in the end, if it actually was somebody who ended up getting arrested and all that, I
Mhm.
could by all means see him getting those extra charges from Valve slapped on. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call him a scapegoat because it's hard to be a scapegoat when you are, directly responsible for something.
I feel like
But
this is a this not sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like this is an interesting time for the league to happen. Not because because a lot of esports events has been shut down because there's a global pandemic going on. So maybe it won't affect CS:GO too much. I mean, it's obviously gonna just fucking tank them, but maybe it won't stop anything from big happening if this gets fixed quick. But
I
other than
mean,
that,
well, the question is, what is there to fix yet? And
yeah, that's the
that's the thing.
problem.
That's like they
we got
can't
you got to
fix it.
react.
Yes, they can't be proactive with fixing things with an already
Because
released product.
yeah, they don't know what's going to be exploited, and
Right.
that's scary. That's
It
goddamn terrifying.
absolutely is. If I'm going to be honest with you, from here on out, like maybe for the next, like, I don't know, a year or two, maybe, I don't know. I'm expecting remote code exploits to be completely rampant throughout Team Fortress 2 and Counter-Strike Global
Oh,
Offensive, but
absolutely.
especially Team Fortress 2 for years to come from this.
That game has a lot of neglect, just because it's not really Valve's interest right now, as Tyler McVicker would love to fucking remind you. Oh my
Oh,
goodness,
boy.
I'm not getting into that, but
I can.
uh,
I'm
the
not going
game
to, but I can.
you can, yeah. So yeah, Team Fortress 2 has been in a bad state, and we had a lot of lag bots
Hmm.
coming from a person who played the game since 2010. We had lot of lag bots recently, and it would just shut down every official server because people just did it. And it took them, I think, like 3 months. Like it was happening at the beginning of the year, and it took them until 2 weeks ago to fix it. And then 2 weeks later, we got this going on. So there's going to be more exploits, probably people losing their Steam accounts and stuff.
That
That's the worst,
I wouldn't say that necessarily yet.
potentially.
I mean, I would say, like, if anything, it's probably going to be the standard remote code exploit setup of, if you have full access to someone's computer, if they connect to a server or go into a server with you,
Hmm.
that would be very interesting. Sense.
Yeah, it's no
Like, I
bueno.
would maybe try to uh, sort of flip the coin, and like even though like obviously a leak is not something to be content with, at the same time, um, I kind of see like the spread of the source files as something that's inevitable. Like Valve just won't completely isolate it, so people will eventually get it, those who are interested.
It just
And on
happens
one hand,
sooner.
yes, there's like a huge potential for creating malicious content, but at the
Hmm.
same time, you're going to have like really curious, talented, and dedicated developers, which like there are people that genuinely don't mind spending like countless nights on figuring out why something's broken.
Yeah.
And I am kind of willing to bet that there will be community built fixes for things that will get
I feel
exploited,
like,
because now people can
yeah,
also make it not happen.
that's
That's
probably
fair.
the only way Team Fortress 2 is going to get any fixes if they send them directly to
Yeah.
Valve, because they have a crazy dedicated community. You know, the ones that don't say N words in chats and stuff like that. But like
They
the work,
exist?
huh?
They exist?
Yeah, they've been existing in the entire game. What are you talking about? Anyway, yeah, the workshop community, the map making community. There's so many like bug fix. Like people have basically been doing like Team Fortress 2 is a standalone thing. It's been doing Valve's job for them. The past like what 8 years now.
Yeah.
Ever since the first community update, they've really just been doing most of the legwork outside of like uh, you know outside of well, not even cinematics because of End of the Line that came out like 6 years ago. But that, Valve does not do most of the work for Team Fortress 2. So I think there's a lot of room for good to come out of the leaks, but
Uh,
also,
I don't
well,
expect any good at all, if we're being honest. I
no,
mean,
no, no,
in the
no. I
sense that
feel like there's potential for good, like because people have access to these tools now, but this is overshadowed by the fact that there are some malicious motherfuckers out there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's basically uh, like sort of, it's a race. Like
Yeah.
uh, as soon as something gets widely exploited, how fast can someone fix it?
Mhm.
And like the reason why I even like thought of the at least potential for good things is, I mean, I don't know if it's like bad that I keep bringing other tech stuff into this because it's supposed to be like game and like Valve centered podcast or like whatever right now.
Yeah,
But
just go
at the
for it.
same time, I think that is like on topic. Uh, I've been looking at some like usual iPhone jailbreak things.
Mhm.
Just studying how some stuff were like very much on surface level. I'm not like that skilled to actually get all the low level stuff. And for example, uh, if one of the like exploits that a jailbreak uses is something that can be like super trivially exploited, like once the exploit is known to everyone because the jailbreak is public,
Yeah.
usually the jailbreak uses the exploit to jailbreak your phone, but at the same time patches the exploit once you are jailbroken, so nobody else can actually use it maliciously.
Mhm.
It's a sort of like interesting thing from an ethical standpoint.
That is.
Right. Oh
What,
man.
what other topics do we got related to this? Because I don't actually know everything about this thing.
Well, there's a lot to go through in the archive. I'm gonna be honest. I have only skimmed the top of it.
Any
I mean,
interesting
I
things
would.
outside of like games, obviously.
Well, I mean, the impact is mostly going to be within games. There's going to be legal
Mm.
repercussions for certain people. Um, though for the amount of people affected, I would say this is probably going to be about on par with the NT4 source leak, maybe?
Hmm.
Uh,
Which
I actually
Lucas.
don't know the impact of that much.
Well, I've been
yeah,
looking.
feel free to
I've just
explain.
been kind of looking around on Twitter here, and I will admit, I wasn't even thinking of the NT4 source leak until there's a folk on guy on Twitter who has been around in the
Speaking
Team
of,
Fortress community for a while. Wicked Player not or 494. Wicked Player 494. I'm gonna go to his Twitter account. Um, he's got a thread up talking about things like worth noting there was indeed a security hazard found in Internet Explorer in the time after the surfacing of the NT4 source leak that utilized it. It happened on February 16th, 2004, 4 days after the leak happened on February 12th.
speaking of Twitter, I've noticed that Valve is now trending.
I wonder why.
Yeah, we got leaked footage of the leaker, and it looks like to be the Blue Scout.
Oh no.
Uh,
Stolen the
so
intel.
yeah. Oh, there's already things happening in TF2. People are posting screenshots of weird shit.
Could you send me a link on that so I could bring it up on screen?
I don't know if this is legit or not, but it's I've never seen anything like it. So it's a Telegram.
Okay, I'll open up Telegram. Then I have that closed, so hear anything.
It's just a screenshot. It looks like, yeah, this I can't tell if that one's real or not, but people are already editing it and freaking out.
Okay.
Currently, a lot of the trend is just memes, but
Okay, I'll hop over to broadcast thing, which the broadcasting is the only thing not special themed for tonight's show. Today's show. Forgive me. I'm not used to doing a show in the daytime. Okay, this is a poor quality screenshot.
it's
Somebody,
terrible quality.
yeah, somebody just sending out an alert. I'm getting into your account right now. Buying Team Fortress
I
2.
think what
It's
it's
like
doing is
obviously
just doing a pop up.
it's just
Yeah,
pop-up mind tricks
yeah.
above anything
But the
else.
fact that it's already like there's already things going on.
Oh yeah, doesn't
Yeah.
shock me. It's like,
Uh,
especially when it comes to like, okay, Counter Strike. I'm not sure of yet. I don't know if there's any effects hitting
I
that yet.
haven't seen it
But you go
yet.
to Team
It's mostly
Fortress,
Team Fortress 2 that's getting affected right now.
right?
Oh, you cannot. Yeah, I see a screenshot. At, yeah, I think people are getting back bans on Counter Strike.
Oh, wonderful.
Like I think false back bans.
Oh, somebody else is saying that that screenshot is faked. Person posting it says,
Yeah,
yes, I know that by now.
And I would say this is like too soon for something like this to happen because like it will happen,
Right.
but
I'm looking through, but it's not too far off. But
because
these are just hearsay right now.
I feel like if people had malicious intentions with the source beforehand, it would have like already been done. And
Hmm.
those who only got access to it like let's say those 12 hours ago, I think it's just it would there's no way you can like check all the relevant and important source bits and also figure out how to exploit them this fast because it's a big code base it has to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it's
I may be wrong. Like maybe there's someone just that dedicated to fucking up the experience of others. So
Hmm. I'm checking. I'm checking to see if any of the blogs got updated in reaction to this of Counter Strike and TF2. It looks like no.
yeah. I mean, I don't expect Valve to put out a statement today, if I'm going to be honest with you,
No, it's
because
just
again,
happened.
when it comes to like NT4 source code in 2004, uh, a much more important and much more significant leak than this by a major margin that took 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm I mean, it would not shock me, honestly, to see like something minor happen, like something like that alert screenshot, like, oh, this is an exploit that allows you to send a message to a server because it doesn't check for certain certifications. Okay,
Yeah. I
that I
mean,
could,
custom
that's like
servers
something
were
that
able to do
simple
that.
I could believe, but a remote
Yeah.
code execution thing, like something significant and serious like that, I would give it maybe a week.
Maybe. I think they just like managed to turn maybe official servers because custom servers allow you to do pop ups.
Hmm,
So maybe they just like forced it into official servers.
it's like
who
one of
knows?
the reasons why I would believe like the remote code execution to be like a specifically tough thing to pull off is that basically the stuff that you can analyze if we suppose that there's only the games themselves inside the leak, not the server too, is that you know what sort of stuff and what sort of like malformed stuff the client can send and the client can possibly receive from the server that can be then misused. But uh, because I don't know, I just have this hunch that the server isn't there because it's most likely a separate, much lighter project
Right.
made by different folks,
Hmm.
or at least like a slightly different team. And there very well might be protection there like in the client you can see code that doesn't follow the best practices which sends data to the server and the code that handles data from the server, but it's very likely that the server itself makes sure that if it receives something bad it doesn't get passed forward.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that this, like, if there is like an RCE thing found though, like This wouldn't be the first time it's happened. There was a Source Engine wide one that just got fixed. Funny enough, I say just. It's been maybe, I want to say a year and a half at the earliest.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
That's
Half-Life
still
2 got
fairly recent for exploits, I would say.
right.
Half-Life 2 got updated a couple years ago, I think, like somewhat recently.
Yeah, but it's
Compared.
like, and like when one of these RCEs is found, in the past at the very least, they have always been across every Source Engine 1 multiplayer title. And I'm
Hmm.
curious for myself to find out what's going to happen with this.
Yeah, it's
Because
really too early.
what lies ahead of us is nothing but uncertainty.
It's a cloud of darkness.
Yep.
It's too early to make any real predictions other than shit's gonna be fucked, but we don't know how.
Yeah. Like when I say like remote code exploits, I'm guessing. And
Yeah.
it's like that's all any of us can do right now is we're going to guess.
The best thing you can do is avoid the games affected or games you think that might be effective, mostly source games. Uh,
Right. Um,
so avoid those just in case.
I mean, if you're looking to spend a lot of time playing a game that's not running on the Source Engine, I'd like to tell you about this MMO that's devoured my life. It's called
God,
Final Fantasy XIV. Someone save me, please.
God damn, it just sucked me back in too. I just like want to fucking.
When are we getting like a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship?
Oh man, if they want to send me like 20 grand right now, preferably in like rolled up in little match boxes so that no one in the government sees it or anything
I'm
like
gonna
that. By all means.
I'm gonna switch the topic real quick
Raid
because
Shadow Legends only pays through Western Union.
that's why I got a Swiss account. Okay. Is there anything? Okay, so we got a bunch of like archive stuff because the file is so fucking huge of all this stuff.
Oh
The
yeah.
like the chat, the text, the
How big
conversation.
is it in total?
I
Okay,
don't. Yeah,
so the
tell us.
full thing. Let's see. Well, I've got the Mega Archive on my desktop. That's about 10 gigs, but that has a compressed full .7 zip in there containing the source code. There's a lot of other stuff in here.
Uh, what's the timestamp of of the full .7 zip?
Timestamp of the full .7 zip.
Soria
Amazingly,
posted a tweet in the Telegram.
I'm not expecting that one to be real. People saying rootkits are being installed because the source code's out. That's too soon.
No, I mean
Yeah, but I
uh,
mean it's TF2. TF2's been
that
fucked
that
over
would
for
have
so
to be
long.
like super complex. Like
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
sorry for like nerding out here, but
No,
I mean,
it's
that's why
good.
we
It's
have
better
you
than
here.
there's
yeah. That's literally why you're
there's
here.
like no imaginable way that Valve would be so careless to the point of games running as administrator. Like it for sure is running as standard
Yeah,
user.
it's
And
not.
basically, if you wanted to achieve like big, like actual breakage of the system that the game runs on, uh, first of all, you would have to use an exploit that like lets you run something on the like victim PC, so to say,
Yeah.
and pretty much this would be the same whether you like I don't know, just like this is the like standard proof of concept thing that most security researchers do is just like uh, open this entirely unrelated program and have it open calculator for you because you know it's for sure not supposed to do that. And basically, they would just have the power to just like launch something, and then that something would have to like in tandem be like a not an entirely different exploit that kicks itself up from standard user to administrator and then fucks up your PC. It would be
Mhm.
incredibly complex, and the actual like exploit that would have to exist for this in source is just a very low impact.
It
Like it
hasn't
would have
even
to
been
be
24
a
hours.
largely a Microsoft exploit.
Hmm.
Yeah, it hasn't even been 24 hours. So, I mean, people are dedicated. I give them that, but I don't think there's just
I
been
mean,
enough
if
time.
I see like a video tweet where like someone joins a TF2 server and it like opens the command prompt like on Windows, then I'm sold. Otherwise, no.
I'm gonna look up TF2, see if there's actually new videos. It's just mostly people memeing, looking at it's people reacting to the source code. People sending that same screenshot I accidentally sent earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, tune in tomorrow for our next stream. Gamerzone reacts to the source code, which is just like a live face cam of like 4 of us scrolling through text files for
Just
7
like
hours straight.
just staring at the screen.
Yeah.
As white light looks at us.
Gamerzone drinks Mountain Dew and eats Doritos while they read text files from Valve.
So I'm gonna So I see a tweet here. Also, there's reports of a lot of bots in TF2 right now,
I mean, anything.
which is
okay.
very fucking expected.
Yeah, like I'm going to just say right here now.
What do you think of this tweet?
Let's see what. Did you send it on Telegram?
Yeah.
Take a look in there. I close it so that the notification dings don't get me.
Also, apparently, Apex Legends is also
Oh,
trend.
oh, that's incredible! Actually, I didn't even think about that. That Respawn's games, even if they are exclusively on Origin, do run on the Source engine. It's a heavily modified version of Source 1.
But they would still have the same problems as Source.
Potentially.
Even Source Filmmaker is fucking.
Well, I mean, okay, Source Filmmaker, it could be like something put into the resources.
Mm-hmm.
As for the screenshot, I'm not so certain.
Yeah, I just saw it. I thought it was interesting and wanted your opinion on it.
Okay. One thing I am absolutely going to have to bring up on the stream, though, perhaps, let's see, let me do something real quick, if it will let me. It's not letting me, never mind. I do want to, though, for another thing I wanted to show, I wanted to go back to broadcast for a moment to just say, when talking about other, like, community effects on things that's going on, and this is another group that Tyler McVicker's involved in. Basically, everything's burning right now.
Everything's on fire.
Creators.tf, a Team Fortress 2 community project to keep the game going and make their own updates and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They're down. Due to a recent source code leak, we will be closing our servers for the foreseeable future. This is because of the uncertainty surrounding security of our infrastructure, as well as a potential for damage to be caused to your computer.
Yeah, that's Tyler's site, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he fully owns it because it says maintained by Amper Software. And let's see, who do they follow? Just Creators TF account. I think it was Tyler and one other guy.
Okay.
I'm not sure. So rest in peace to that project.
Mm-hmm.
Their website's down. Oh, man.
Yeah, shit's fucked.
That's the easiest way to put it. I don't really expect this to get better anytime soon. That's the easiest way I'd put it.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Right.
I'm looking through, like, I just looked up TF2, and it's mostly just, again, people memeing, sending pictures of, like...
It's people memeing and people trying to fake stuff, because, of course, people are going to try and fake stuff.
But it's mostly people freaking the fuck out. Because they're terrified, and they're seeing these screenshots, and they don't,
I mean, fear spreads faster than anything else.
Which is probably good in this situation. You do not want to launch this game right now.
Right.
Just in case.
Yeah, preemptive measures are like a very good idea, regardless of what sort of bad thing happens.
If you want to play Team Fortress 2, unrelated, but if you want to play,
I want to touch on,
go ahead,
is that let's suppose that the story about like the guy and a girlfriend in the text file is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're at Valve, you know that this stuff leaked, and you won't keep the super optimistic image of this will never leak. So I would say like there's obviously no like 100-step plan of like do exactly this once it finally leaks. But I don't know, I would expect like a company as big as this to at least have like a slight plan or like a course of action to take for like once this thing leaks, let's make sure we do this. And I don't know. I just think that they wouldn't completely disregard this and try to be at least partially prepared. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I seeing an official announcement or like at least a few words from people who I know are rather relevant to leading stuff at Valve would be I don't know the first big step towards figuring out how big of an impact this leak even has, because the source code is also old. It's
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
about 3 years old, almost.
Well,
And,
for TF2, it's basically modern. Which is
well,
funny.
yeah, okay, that is definitely a concern. But at the
TF2
same
doesn't get
time,
updated often.
like, let's say at the very least, CSGO.
Hmm.
Uh,
Who gets regular updates?
Usually, stuff like once you implement something new, then it also causes like a wave of updates to the code related to it. So like many things that could be found to be exploitable in the source may already be fixed, for example. And
Right.
yeah, TF2 is probably the biggest scarecrow Disley has to offer because of
Yeah,
its fairly neglected state.
it's it's gonna get the worst of this. Because it's not an esport like Counter Strike. It's
Yeah.
and
Well,
and Valve,
I'm also thinking about something that I didn't mention here earlier. I don't know how different Source 2 is from Source 1 when it comes to how they handle their networking
mhm,
code and etc.
that's
But
how.
if
Yeah,
memory serves, didn't Valve announce plans to port CS:GO to Source 2?
they did. I think
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of their intentions.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Dota 2 on Source 2.
Dota 2 I think is actually. So
Yeah, I think it is on.
I don't think Dota is going to be affected by this. Like earlier I was thinking, like Dota already at the very least its version of Source seemed heavily customized, so
Hmm.
I don't know.
I think it's different enough that if anything happens, it'd probably be a quick fix.
Right. That's my expectation.
Uh,
I do want to say though, I'm looking through more of the stuff in this file here. I'm not gonna export or not extract a full bunch of source code while I'm just sitting here streaming,
hmm.
especially since I usually don't want to
We're also
go
coming
through
up on an
this.
hour, and I don't know if we have much topics left.
Well, I think we're basically running our course here, but I'm looking through this and there's
I mean, I do still have some things on mind.
Okay.
yeah, you can go into that real quick after I get a look at this here.
Yeah.
There's also an export of a direct message group featuring Valve News Network, so Tyler McVicker. Then it says Jackathan, who I only know from back when I did watch Tyler's videos that he worked with Jackathan on a lot of stuff. I want to say it was at Lever Softworks as well. In fact, I think that was what became Lever Softworks was their partnership. A guy going by the alias of Dank Parrot, who's not familiar to me, and then someone marked omitted. Presumably the person leaking this, who is dumb enough to think that if he's going to leak a bunch of stuff featuring other people, that they're not just going to go put his name out. Crazy, ain't it?
Absolutely
And this
insane.
is included in the Half-Life 3 leaks folder. Interesting thing to go over. We follow this leak as if we were under the strictest NDA possible. Oh boy. Interesting. Very interesting. Basically, a lot of people talking about how to handle beta stuff, talking about the Cephalon things. This is incredible to look at because this is kind of the source stuff for most of Tyler's videos for a couple of years, where he stretches it out to 10 minutes or so. Generally, they all go back to stuff from in here. That's
We
like,
got an update in chat saying the plan for porting CS:GO would has been thrown out because it would have changed the physics.
well, I guess it's time for Valve to start work on Source 2 physics engines.
They had to change they had to switch physics engines. So
Oh
get on,
man.
idiot. It's not Dota 2.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, Lucas, go off.
if
Uh,
if you can think of any topics.
or I mean, it's just like more sort of opinions and
Oh,
things
let's
I've
bring up the
noticed about this leak.
speculation.
Oh, speculation.
We're
I
doing some
no,
speculation.
this is not like at least what I'm about to say. It's not speculation. Like this is like a straight up fact.
Oh, then
It's
never
just
mind.
like
Taking off the speculation marker.
things that I find interesting is
Okay.
that like usually when source leaks like this happen, it's incomplete. Like all the Microsoft leaks that you can find or like you can somehow obtain, even if somehow private, they won't be complete. You'll try to compile, you'll fail. Because usually some bits of the code that are a bit more sensitive than others are held at different security levels. For example, even if you got the like full shiny like Windows XP thing I mentioned a while ago, like you can build it, but it won't have the activation technology. So you won't be able to figure out how to make your legit looking, counterfeit looking copies of Windows. Or like another thing, uh, there was like another leak that was on my mind that I can't remember right now. But the gist is that usually when source leaks, it's in a state like uh, you pop it into your developer tools, you press build, and it fails because it's missing some extra important things.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've seen, the CS:GO source builds. Just it does.
Right.
Which is concerning because
Right.
I was kind of hoping that, I don't know, it would complain about things. But from the few screenshots I've seen, the only broken thing is localization of all the things. Like, wow,
Updated localization files.
That's the
yeah,
update TF2 needs
like
right now.
the game runs, you can get into it. Stuff looks fine loaded. No assets seem to be missing, but the game just like in the menu you have game UI underscore game underscore pause and such. But I was kind of hoping it would be the opposite. Like maybe localization isn't such a big deal, and perhaps the client server communication is. But you can build the full thing, and I kind of doubt that they have a special flavor which is local only.
Oh boy.
So this is kind of concerning because, like, how high of an access level did this person have, or alternatively, how not properly secured is stuff at Valve?
Well, I mean that's an interesting thing because of Valve's entirely quote unquote open setup where it's supposed to be free roaming. You can
It's
do what
very
you need to,
natural.
what you want to.
Nothing gets done.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's not
this
true.
is also sadly comparable to Microsoft
Yeah,
because
because they're sitting on a dragon sword. They don't need to try anymore.
like I know from like multiple people who have worked there as just like uh, uh why do I forget the most basic words when I try to go on about something that's actually interesting for once?
It's the tip of the tongue
So
syndrome.
so people that worked at Microsoft like just temporarily, maybe just like try things out or like in between school.
Hmm.
Uh, so basically, you get accepted for a very short period of time, and Microsoft knows that you won't need some sort of super high level of access because why would you work on something like super important confidential for just a moment? They probably want someone with a bit more time and dedication to make something new and interesting happen. But the thing is, you get into Microsoft, you can be the most basic employee type ever, and you have access to like way more things than you should,
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
it
like
also like
Rockstar.
kind of works on the trust principle. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, you probably won't access the stuff you don't need, right? But you can, and there appear to be like no repercussions to when you do. And even when you overstep your boundaries massively, which was a thing that happened publicly when a like popular site that tracks the sort of pace of Windows development was quote unquote donated a bunch of like internal development tags by an employee,
Yeah, that reminds
which
me of.
kept leaking them for like weeks.
Yeah, that
Uh,
reminds me
the
of what.
employee got a stern
Oh, I'll let you
talking
finish.
to, and that was it. Just
Okay.
he continues to work there.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. That reminds me of what this is something that Tyler McVicker said himself, is that Valve works on like kind of like a Rockstar system where they want really cool, like people have done cool things. But you have to have like an old classic guy and from the '90s. They have to like back you up, so and stuff like that. That's like it's not very I don't organized. Like basically, people who have been around a long time have a lot of influence. They can do whatever the hell they want. Like I don't know. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
right to me.
Well, I mean, that's the big issue with Valve's open office setup.
Hmm.
I mean, the thing that like was touted as like the future of the gaming industry. That wow, Valve developers get to work on what they want. They aren't always told what the man has to have them do. Here's the thing: the end result of that is that their entire company is a group of cliques.
Yeah, it's a high school.
Yes.
Like sure they probably make games for art's sake, which is fine.
Right. Well, it's the
But
reason that nothing actually gets done up
yeah,
until stuff
because
like
nothing's
Half-Life
perfect.
Alyx.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much less a view of the company as a whole and much more of its structure, I feel. That
Valve has this reputation with Half-Life games where they have to be innovating a new tech or something. They have to be like the new game has to be innovated as hell, except for the episodes. Ignore that stuff. But like Half-Life One, it was a crazy step in first-person shooters. Half-Life Two, physics engines. You got to do that same seesaw puzzle like 30 times. And now Half-Life Alyx, VR was literally the only like next thing for them.
Hmm.
So they didn't know what to do with it. And again, ignoring the episodes, it was just like a weird teenager thing. I don't know. That's the only like problem with my analogy.
yeah. Oh man.
I think we have anything else to talk about
I think that's basically that. Though Chris in the chat saying again though that according to SteamDB, the source that leaked today wasn't made available to Source Engine licensees, so not super high up. Though some of the stuff
okay.
in here, like the Half-Life 3 stuff, is stuff that got sent to Tyler.
Yeah, because
It's
probably Tyler was looking for it.
well, I feel like the majority of things in here are going to be more damaging personally to Tyler than they are to Valve.
Hmm.
Big if Counter-Strike Global Offensive isn't affected heavily by this.
Yeah, if
Team
they're big.
Fortress 2 is not their baby anymore, but
No, yeah, they stopped being their babying after Jungle Inferno flopped. They didn't like the outcome of that update, so they kind of just like let's put it on hold for now. They do make money from crate sales, which is going to take a huge drop. Trading's going to be down, so that's a lot of money that's not coming in, but not as much as CS:GO knife trading or the gloves, the unboxings, the prize pools for
right,
tournaments, seasons, and all that. CS:GO makes a lot more money than Team Fortress.
right. I'm kind of surprised, and I'm also surprised that I just immediately forgot what I was going to say.
That's
One
what
of
happens when I open my mouth.
yeah. You open your mouth and I forget what's coming out of mine. So
Hmm.
yeah, that
Sum
that's a
up the
brain fart.
story. Avoid Valve games and anything that has anything touched by Source. That's probably your safe bet. Maybe play some like Stardew Valley or something. Minecraft. Find a hobby. Pick up bird watching. Anything else.
Just play Halo 3. Honestly,
Halo 3, maybe.
just play Halo 3. Oh,
That's
actually, I remember what I was gonna say. It's really gotta suck to be a Valve fan that was like super into Team Fortress 2, trying to stay inside, flatten the curve, by avoiding avoid getting a virus by playing
mm,
Team Fortress 2, only to wake up, check Twitter, and see, oh, laddie, you're gonna get a virus if you play Team Fortress 2.
why is he? God damn it, Andy. That's literally me.
So now you're double quarantined. How's it
I'm
feel?
double quarantined.
How's it feel?
Well, here's the thing though. Why play Team Fortress 2 when you can play Gang Garrison 2? The
Hmm.
shitty free-to-play 2D side-scroller pixel art Team Fortress 2 that I played back in like 2009 when I couldn't afford Team Fortress 2.
Why
Gang
don't,
Garrison.
I wonder
Let's
if
play
that's a
Gang
thing.
Garrison. It
I,
is a thing.
well, still a thing.
It probably is.
Like I would maybe like in case we do manage to have a fair few listeners or like have
We got a
someone
couple.
listen to this whole thing uh once it's done.
Yeah.
I have
Time
like a
capsule.
maybe like a small recommendation for like maybe keeping yourself a bit safe if you just really want to play some of these games and want to minimize the impact that a potential far-reaching exploit could have. Like, uh, if you feel like doing it, just go to settings on your Windows PC, make a user account, and use that. I'm sure that you can configure Steam to use the same
Excuse me.
library on that account. And when you make a new account like this, it's a standard account. It's rather limited. You can play games fine and such, but virtually anything that would attempt to like modify your system or do like genuinely bad things will
Okay,
just
that's
run
my
into a
mic.
wall. So if you just want to play, want to make yourself a bit safer, make a temporary user account. Things may be better.
That's a pretty good recommendation.
Yeah.
And on that, I think we're good to call it quits here for this afternoon. If anyone
Yeah,
else
it
has
was
any,
I don't really have much to add on to this. Other than just, stay safe, make sure you avoid the games. You're probably going to get updated on Twitter, seeing how the game sucks now if you follow Team Fortress or anything. So, yeah, shit's not going to look good in the future. And good luck, Tyler McVicker. Hope you have a good lawyer.
oh, any last words, Lucas? Wait, no, not that way.
uh, I guess just like thanks for having me here. Like I'm definitely just a sort of surprise person to suddenly pop
Mm-hmm.
in. Like I've wanted to be a part of one of these streams for like a long time, but obviously time zones and such
Yeah,
don't
you're our
really mix well.
Yeah,
And
this is
once I happen to have time for these, I started to have like frequent work. So
oh,
I had to have a normal sleep schedule, and that kind of broke it again.
yeah.
I
Good.
hope I can just like pop into one of these again
Mm-hmm.
somewhat soon
Oh
because
yeah,
it's
I'd love
cool.
to have
Like
you
even
back.
though like right now we've got just basically a single topic and not really any semblance of gameplay, yet I still enjoyed it.
hey,
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun to have you
the
on here,
future
man.
ones can be only better.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're our little ambassador from the Eurozone to the Gamer Zone, so think of it
Exactly.
that way.
You were the professional required to give legal advice
Technical
during
advice.
yeah technical advice during the court trial of
R slash
Ty-
technical advice anyone.
yeah for Tyler McVicker's court case. You were assigned as a professional to talk see how long he's going to get grounded.
You
yeah.
see, on the topic of like the R slash joke and such, how long do you think it will take until someone who's bored enough will make a Twitter bot which tweets random dumb shit that Tyler has said from the chat logs?
That
Like
that sounds like a good
poorly aged
idea.
things.
I'm gonna give it like 3 days.
It's I
I'm
want to say
good.
two. I'm going to say this is going to go by a lot faster
This is gonna
because
this is
this is
gonna
fucking
hit before
huge.
the remote code execution. I'll just say that.
And then once that happens, people are actually going to be like they're already
I
scared.
can't wait
They're going to
for
be in
like
actual overdrive.
a big chunk of the public to find a bit like that's like you need to sign an NDA. Why?
Hmm.
oh boy. Well, good having you on here, boys. For those of you listening, you can go follow them. Lucas, you can find on Twitter at the book is closed. Dean, you can find on Twitter at Sangracor.
Yes,
And you can
Songukor.
and you can find me on Twitter at Bennett Blogs. And of course, you can follow the Gamer Zone account on Twitter. You can actually just go to the YouTube channel page and then just click the little Twitter link. But You actually
Mhm.
want to go look for it. It's the gamer
Yeah, we
underscore
post
underscore underscore
underscore.
zone because we
Yeah,
choose original names for our productions.
exactly. Part of the brand.
And
Part of the
keep in
brand.
mind, the more funding and donations we'll get, the more the more of an influence status we can gain, and the less underscores you'll have to type.
Dude,
Yeah,
we can become an influencer.
we can become influencers. I'm
Yeah,
gonna, I'm
we
gonna go.
Yeah,
post stream
all of us
announcements on
become just
Twitter,
like
by
a
the way.
one influencer, a big monolith.
Eventually,
That's
I
it.
want to be as much of an influencer as the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mhm. You know.
All right, well, everyone, you have a good week. We'll see you around. 3, 2, 1. I guess I've never streamed with YouTube before. I guess I just push this end stream button and then stop in OBS. So let's see if I mess it up.
Get on, idiot.